Welcome to Carl Otto's Dark Anthology. Tonight, we return to the Veiled Tapestry, a tale of hidden bloodlines, forgotten magic, and the kind of secrets Savannah buries in shadows. If you're new here, make yourself comfortable. There's always room for one more curious soul. And if you've been walking this haunted path with us from the beginning, you already know, truth comes in fragments, and the deeper you dig, the darker it gets. Don't forget to subscribe, share the fear, and stay with us till the end. Because what you're about to hear, it matters. Let's begin. The Veiled Tapestry. Episode 6. John was weary from everything they had uncovered. I can't believe all of this. The shop is a mess, the secret door, everything. It's like we were suddenly dropped into some kind of bad B-movie. With concern in her voice, Hope replied, I know, John, but we're making progress. We've collected a lot of potential evidence, and if Jude's on the up and up, he can still be helpful. We'll get it all figured out. John nodded, appreciating Hope's unwavering support. They had a lot of work ahead, and the mysteries surrounding Uncle James's death were far from solved. You're right, Hope. Let's get some rest and start fresh in the morning. They settled into the flat, which was filled with the comforting scent of old books and the lingering presence of John's memories with his uncle. Despite the turmoil of the day, being in that space brought a subtle sense of connection and calm. The night passed fitfully. Both John and Hope were haunted by dreams, shattered artifacts, shadowy figures, voices whispering just beyond understanding. When the first rays of sunlight broke through the curtains, they were already awake, ready to face the new day. As they descended the stairs to the shop, they were greeted by the sight of Jude returning with a familiar, friendly grin. Morning, you two. Hope it's all right that I'm back. Thanks, Jude, John said. Your help means a lot to us. Let's get to work. Together, the three resumed their research and cleaning efforts, determined to uncover any hidden clues or missing pieces that might shed light on what had transpired. The sound of the bell above the shop door jingled, cutting through the quiet of their work. A new visitor stepped inside. Slender, middle-aged, dressed in a dark conservative suit, adorned with a silver-tipped bolo tie. He carried an ornate walking stick and spoke with a rich Mississippi drawl. I'm Beauregard Lanier of the Mississippi Laniers. How do you do? He said, each word carefully measured, melodic. I heard about what happened here, and I must say it's quite a shame. Your uncle had some valuable property, you know. John's posture straightened, spine rigid as resolve crystallized behind his eyes. The man before him was the picture of Southern aristocracy, flawless attire, polished manners, but there was a glint in Lanier's eye, sharp and predatory, like a man used to getting what he wants. Mr. Lanier, John began, his voice even, to what do we owe the pleasure of your company? With practiced ease, Beauregard extended a business card between two fingers, regal and deliberate. Ah, Mr. Gray, it's a delight to make your acquaintance under such somber circumstances. I find myself here on behalf of a certain interested party. This charming abode, he gestured broadly at the shop, possesses a certain je ne sais quoi, ripe for rejuvenation into a monument of splendor. Hope exchanged a wary glance with John, her instincts prickling. Your client seems to have a peculiar taste for real estate, she said, tone dry. Beauregard smiled, smooth and unyielding as marble. Alas, the identity of my benefactor remains a guarded secret, yet their intentions are backed by considerable resources and an avid fascination with this locale's unique attributes. John didn't flinch. This property, Mr. Lanier, is not for sale. We are going to keep it in the family for now. Lanier's smile widened, the glint in his eyes brightening as though he relished the pushback. Surely, Mr. Gray, a dialogue remains open for negotiation. The figures we discuss could very well redefine one's perspective on what is and isn't negotiable. Our stance is clear, John said. It's not for sale. Now I'm busy. Please leave." Beauregard tilted his head, the smile never quite fading. "Oh, come now, young man. I'm sure we can come to an arrangement. A generous offer can change minds." The smile finally faded. Beauregard's gaze turned cold, clinical, calculating. "Very well, Mr. Gray. But keep in mind, my client's offer remains on the table. If you change your mind, you know where to find me." He turned on his heel and exited with the same poise he arrived, his figure swallowed by the thick dusk outside. In his wake, he left a silence weighted with tension, unanswered questions, and a creeping sense of foreboding, like the charged air before a summer storm. Hours passed as the trio delved deeper into Uncle James's research, cataloging every item they had collected and cross-referencing them with his notes and records. The shop was beginning to feel more like an archive of the arcane than a place of business. As the afternoon sun began to wane, a familiar face appeared at the door, Connor holding a food delivery bag in one hand. He sauntered in, his presence a warm contrast to the day's unease. "I reckoned you might be famished after all the day's toil," he announced, his grin wide. "And I've got something a wee bit more for ye as well. Some of Tony's best." Hope's face lit up. "That's incredibly thoughtful of you, Connor. We're truly grateful." Inside the bag was a generous serving of shepherd's pie, enough to feed a family of 4. The rich aroma filled the shop, wrapping them in the kind of comfort only a seasoned cook like Tony could conjure. "Get yourselves ready, me friends. And hold on, there's a bit more." Connor, his voice dipping with a note of intrigue, handed John a sealed envelope. John blinked. "What's this?" Connor winked. Let's just say I've got me ways. Some doors open with a gentle nudge, others with a bitter Irish charm." His tone sobered as he added, "But before you dive into that, take a moment to think. The path you're about to tread is tangled and deep, and not all who wander are found." John narrowed his gaze, curiosity rising. "What exactly are you warning us against?" Connor sighed, the weight of his thoughts settling in his shoulders. "There are truths in this world, dark and deep, that once known can never be unknown. Secrets that'll bind ye, change ye, leave ye yearning for the bliss of ignorance. It's a heavy burden, one that'll test the limits of your heart and soul." But John, undeterred, met his words with calm resolve. "I appreciate your concern, Connor, truly. But I'm no longer the boy who shied away from shadows. I need to know the truth about my uncle, for his sake and ours." Connor gave a solemn nod, respect and worry mingling in his eyes. "Just remember, you've got each other. In the darkest times, that's your beacon. Be there for one another." He left them then, disappearing into the deepening dusk. The aroma of shepherd's pie lingered, but the envelope on the table drew all attention, like a loaded pistol waiting to go off. John couldn't resist. He broke the seal and carefully unfolded the pages of the police report. His face tightened with frustration as his eyes scanned the document. Heavily redacted. Line after line blacked out. Crucial details obscured. "Damn it," he muttered. "They've redacted almost everything." Hope leaned closer. "What does it say, John?" "Not much," he replied, jaw clenched. "It mentions the discovery of Uncle James's body in the shop, but most of the details are gone. Look at these photos." He held up the pages. Photographs, their most damning parts blacked out. The neck, the wrists, wounds deliberately hidden. Hope frowned. Why would they do that? What are they trying to hide? John's voice dropped low. According to the report, they found him nearly bloodless. There's barely any mention of what caused it. Jude stepped in, his tone quiet but certain. Blood is a common theme in a lot of ritual magic. John stared at the report again, puzzle pieces shifting in his mind. It's possible, but this report isn't giving us enough. Hope looked down at the floor where James's body had been found. John, look at the stain. It's small, barely enough to match what the report describes. You're right, he said, intensity building. The report says he had wounds on his hands, signs of being bound, tortured, and beaten. Cause of death was organ failure from blood loss. But there's not enough blood here. He took a step back, mind reeling. His body must have been moved. He didn't die here. His voice sharpened, tinged with rage. They tied him up, beat him, tortured him, and then bled him like a stuck pig. The weight of it hung in the room like smoke. The redacted report hadn't hidden the horror. It had confirmed it, in the gaps between the lines. We can't rely on this alone, John said, slamming the folder shut. We need other sources. Someone who knows what really happened. Hope laid a hand on his shoulder, grounding him. We won't give up, John. No matter how deep this rabbit hole goes, we'll find the truth. John's thoughts wandered as he sifted through the piles of old books and notes. The tapestry of Savannah's people that Uncle James had been surrounded by seemed more intricate with each discovery. As night fell and the rain began to tap softly against the windows, the trio remained immersed in their research. The shop grew smaller, the walls closing in around them like the air before a thunderstorm, heavy, charged and thick with unspoken tension. John rubbed his temples, eyes bleary from reading. I can't believe how much strange legend and lore we're finding. It's like every corner of the world has its own supernatural story. I know, Hope replied, flipping through a brittle old journal. It's overwhelming. Some of these rituals and legends are downright bizarre. John let out a dry laugh. Bizarre? You haven't seen anything yet. Wait till you hear about Vlad the Impaler. Hope blinked, confused. Vlad the Impaler? What's that got to do with our investigation? He shook his head, smirking. Nothing, really. But it's such a strange legend I can't resist sharing it. Veiled Tapestry, also known as Vlad the Impaler, was a real historical figure who inspired the Dracula myth. But here's the twist. Some legends claim he didn't die. Instead, he performed a ritual to turn himself into a vampire, to get revenge on his enemies. Hope snorted. You're kidding, right? Dracula was actually real and he turned himself into a vampire on purpose. John's grin widened. Oh, it gets better. This tome here claims to have the dark ritual he used to pull it off. Hope leaned back in her chair, shaking her head. So much for needing to get bitten, huh? Their earlier frustration gave way to a light-hearted back and forth. They began trading stories, each one more outlandish than the last. Their laughter a small reprieve from the weight of death and dread. Hope smirked. Okay, how about this one? The legend of the chupacabra, a creature that sucks the blood of goats and livestock in Latin America. John chuckled, relaxing. Ah, the goat sucker. Classic. But have you heard about the Japanese fox spirit? It turns into a beautiful woman to seduce men and steal their souls. Child's play, Hope countered. Try this. A ritual where you walk backward up a flight of stairs while holding a candle and a hand mirror. If you do it right, you'll see your future spouse's face. John let out a laugh. All right, you win that round. But I bet Jude's got something even weirder. Jude looked up from a thick, dust-covered tome, eyebrows raised. You two seem to be having quite the competition, he said with a crooked smile. But have you ever heard of the ancient Mayan ball game Pocketok? Losers were sacrificed to the gods. John and Hope exchanged wide-eyed glances. Hope nodded. Okay, Jude, that one definitely takes the cake. Agreed, John said. Mayan sports murder beats chupacabras and mirror rituals any day. Jude, deadpan, added, also the whole chupacabra thing, it's real. They all laughed, really laughed, for the first time in days. For a few minutes, the burden lifted. The horrors still lingered at the edges, but in that moment, surrounded by old books and stranger myths, they were just friends chasing shadows in stories. Hope smiled. All right, as fun as this is, we should probably get back to the real mystery. John nodded, still grinning. You're right. Let's see if there's anything in here we've actually missed. Jude returned to his stack. I'll keep digging. There might be something buried in these texts. And with that, the trio leaned back into their work, bound by loss, driven by curiosity, and now, just a little more certain they could face whatever lay ahead. As the trio returned to their research, a sense of renewed camaraderie settled between them. The laughter may have faded, but something else had taken its place, a quiet confidence. The mysteries surrounding Uncle James's death were far from ordinary, and they were ready to uncover the truth, no matter how strange or dangerous the path ahead might be. The rain continued to whisper against the windows, the sound mingling with the soft rustle of paper and the occasional creak of the old shop. The hours stretched on, the light outside dimming, until the interior of the shop was bathed in amber from a handful of lamps. Books, ledgers, artifacts, and handwritten notes surrounded them like a sea of fragmented truth. John stared at a translated passage about funerary rites in Eastern Europe, his mind turning circles. I can't believe how much strange legend and lore we're finding. It's like every culture had its own version of death and monsters, and James was collecting them all. Hope sighed, rubbing her temples. Some of these rituals are wild. I can't tell what's real and what's just superstition anymore. John chuckled, the edge of exhaustion softening his voice. You'll know it's real when something starts hissing Latin and throws a book at us. Hope grinned. We've already had secret doors and redacted autopsy reports. Honestly, a haunted tome wouldn't even surprise me anymore. Jude looked up from his current read and nodded gravely. Just don't open anything bound in leather and has a lock. That never ends well. They all paused a moment, smiles lingering, tension cracking just a little further under the weight of their shared absurdity. But even as they tried to refocus, the air seemed heavier now. Not oppressive exactly, but charged. The more they uncovered, the more the shop felt alive, watching, waiting. Hope pushed her notes aside, frowning. We're running in circles again. The clues are scattered, but they're pointing to something ritualistic, something blood-based, but nothing to who might have done it. James was onto something, but he hid the endgame too well. John leaned back, eyes closed. We're missing context. We've got pieces, but no border, no big picture. Jude tapped a finger against a faded, hand-inked map. I think we give it one more day to build a solid base. After that, we stop chasing clues in here and start chasing leads out there. I'll start making a list of names. Someone out there knows why James died, and what he was trying to stop. A long silence followed. Then John said, staring out into the night, one more day then, we widen the net. We find out who James trusted and who he feared. Hope nodded. And if anyone comes sniffing around again like Lanier did, we keep our guard up. The envelope from earlier still sat on the edge of the table, half forgotten amid the stacks of paper. The smell of shepherd's pie had faded into the wood and dust. Outside, the rain deepened to a steady, insistent rhythm, like a ticking clock they couldn't quite hear. Somewhere beyond the glass, Savannah watched with eyes it never showed in daylight. Inside the shop, surrounded by secrets and the ghosts of the past, the trio prepared for whatever waited in the dark. You've reached the end, for now. If the whispers linger, if the redacted lines still haunt your thoughts, you belong here, with us. Subscribe for new stories and quickfire horrors every week. Full anthology issues drop monthly. Next release, May 2025. And if this story sank its teeth into you, share it with someone who likes their mysteries, twisted, and their truths blood-soaked. Stay curious. Stay terrified.